Okay, class, we're about to start section 12.2, multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Recall how to multiply and divide numerical fractions. We have 4 times 9 over 15 times 16. Now, what we want to show here is the prime factorization of all of these values. So we will add 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. That'll take care of 4 and 9. 15 we know factors out to 3 and 5. And 16 factors out to 4 twos. Now we simplify what they have in common. We have 3's in common and 2 sets of 2's in common, which will leave us here with 3 over 20. And that is the final answer. Now we have 6 sevens, change division to multiplication, and take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Now to do its prime factorization. We will add 2 times 3 for 6. 8 breaks down to 2, 2, and 7. 7 is prime already, and 9 breaks down to 3 and 3. So we have 1 set of 7's and 1 set of 3's in common, and this will leave us 8/3. So now it says how to multiply and divide algebraic fractions. If division, invert the second fraction and multiply, factor all polynomials in both fractions, reduce factors that divide to equal 1, and then multiply. Okay, now, we look here, we have multiplication. Now we'll do the factoring of all the numbers and the variables. 2 is prime, 27 breaks down to 3 3's, and y squared is y times y. All over 9 will be 3 times 3, 8 will be 3 2's, and y to the 5th, we know that will be 5 y's. Now we simplify. We have 2 sets of 3's, 1 set of 2's, and 2 sets of y's. So that will leave in our numerator a 3, and our denominator that will leave 4, and then 3 y's. So now we go over here to B. Now when we look here at B, we add division. So first, let's change that to multiplication. Okay, so this would be 7x minus 14 times, it would be 2x minus 4. So we have to take the reciprocal, 50x to the 8th. Now we can do the prime factorization of 20. I'm going to go down here to give me more room. 20 breaks down to 2, 2, and 5. And then we have x to the 6. We know that would be 6x's. And then we can factor out a 2 here. And then that would be 2 times x minus 2. So we factored the whole numerator. Now the denominator, we can factor out a 7 here, and we had x minus 2. With 50, 50 breaks down to 2 times 5 times 5. And then x to the 8th, we know we have 8x's. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8x's. Okay, so now we simplify. Now we notice here with these 2's, we have 1 set of 2's here that goes. We have 1 set of 5's that go. We have a set of x minus 2 that goes. And we have, 6 x's that goes. So that's 2, 4, 6 x's that goes. So now all we have in the numerator is 2 times 2, which is 4. And the denominator, 7 times 5 is 35. And we have 2 x's left over, which would be x squared. So now, we scroll down here. We have example 2. Now this time we have trinomials and binomials divided by each other. So now, we would take this 3m squared minus 2m minus 8 all over 3m squared plus 14m plus 8. Division becomes multiplication. And we have 3m plus 2 over 3m plus 4. Now we could go to factor. Now we will factor this out. In our numerator, this factors out to 3m plus 4 times m minus 2. denominator, this factors out the 3m plus 2 and m plus 4. Times 3m plus 2 over 3m plus 4. Now the 3m plus 2's will simplify out and the 3m plus 4's will simplify out. So you will be left with m minus 2 and m plus 4. That will be your final answer. Now we come here to B. Now this is multiplication. Now if you notice here, we can factor this out here. We do have factors. So here we can factor out a negative 6. Well, actually, let me do it under here so I have more room. So we can factor out a negative, well, actually it's a negative 3, not negative 6. Negative 3, that'll give us 2x plus 5. Our denominator we can factor to be x minus 3 and x plus 3. Times, we can factor out a 6 here, and that'll leave us x plus 3. And then in our denominator, so we would have 2x minus 3 when we factor out this denominator, and x plus 5. Now we look here to see what we can simplify out here. We can simplify out an x plus 3, and that looks like that's it. So we have negative 18 times 2x plus 5 all over. Let me make that line a little straighter. This would be all over 2x minus 3, x minus 3, and x plus 5. That is the final answer here. Now we go down here to the next problem. We have division. We have 5 times x plus 2. Actually, we could factor out this denominator too. This will give us 10x squared, and in parentheses that will give us x minus 7. Division becomes multiplication. We take the reciprocal. We know this would be 8x plus 16, which would be 8 times x plus 2 once we factor. And then we have 4. Now listen, 7 minus x, why don't we just take out the negative 1? And that will make this negative 4 and it'll be x minus 7. That's so that we could get rid of, so we could make this uniform. Now what we have here to simplify. Now we know that, first of all, let's do the prime factorization. I think that'll make it a little easier. We don't have to do it with the x squared because it's nothing that could simplify out with the x squared. So 10 becomes 2 and 5. 8 becomes 3 2s. And negative 4 becomes negative 2 times 2. Then we simplify. The 5 simplify out. There's one set of 2's and 2 more sets of 2's. And then what we will have is x plus 2 times x plus 2 in our numerator. In our denominator, we will have a negative x squared times x minus 7 times x minus 7. Now, there's another way we could write this. We can make this x plus 2 parentheses squared all over negative x squared times x minus 7 parentheses squared. And that could be the final answer. Now we go here to D. Now, just like we did in the previous problem, this 6 minus y, we'll factor out a negative 1, and that will give us y minus 6. Now in our denominator, this y squared plus 8y plus 16 is the same as y plus 4 times y plus 4. This is multiplied. We can factor out a negative 1, and this will end up being a difference of 2 squared, so we have y minus 4 and y plus 4. All over. Now, we can factor out here 4y squared, 16y, and 48, all of them have 4 in common. And in parentheses, we will have y squared minus 4y, so that minus 12. Now, Let's see, can we factor this out anymore? Yes, we can. So this would be negative 1 times y minus 6 all over y plus 4 times y plus 4 times negative 1 times y minus 4 y plus 4 all over, factor out 4. This would give us y minus 6 and y plus 2. And then we could simplify this out. Y plus 4 and y plus 4 simplify out. Y minus 6 and y minus 6 will simplify out. So a negative times a negative is positive, and that will leave us y minus 4 in our numerator. Now in our denominator, we will be left with 4 times y plus 4 and y plus 2. And that is it. Now we move on to the next page. It says example 3. Let f of x equals x cubed minus 8 over x squared minus 7x plus 10 and g of x equals x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x. Find the following by hand. An equation of g divided by f. So this is what we would do. The g equation is x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x. And the f equation is, actually you see that equal sign disappeared a little bit here. The f equation, we're going to make this into a regular division problem to make it look a little easier. So it'd be divided by x cubed minus 8 all over x squared minus 7x plus 10. Now we know this could be assumed to be over 1. So it'll be x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x all over 1 times, it'll be x squared minus 7x plus 10 all over x cubed minus 8. Now we could factor this. We could factor out an x, and that'll give us x squared plus 2x plus 4 all over 1. And then we could factor this out here. We could factor this out as x minus 2 and x minus 5. Now with this x cubed minus 8, we know that is the difference of 2 cubes. So we know we have a binomial times a trinomial. The binomial would be x minus 2. Then a trinomial we know would be x squared plus 2x. And then it would be plus 4. Now, we could simplify out. If you notice, these two trinomials are the same. We have these binomials, and then we will be left with x times x minus 5 all over 1, which is just x times x minus 5. And that is the final answer. Now we come here to B. It says g over f of 3. All we have to do is take our final answer from A and substitute in 3 into this problem. So we could take this, and wherever x appears, we'll put 3 in its place. So we will have 3 times 3 minus 5 is a negative 2. So our final answer here would be negative 6. So g of f of 3 is negative 6. And that is the final answer. And we are done.